Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the PHNX Rising Show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. I'm Ramon Chavez, joined by taking it to the Max Simpson, and the biggest shit talker I've ever met in my life.
He just came in so hot
Owen
today.
Evans.
So he has been shit talking since Sunday, and this man doesn't stop. The first thing he comes in just chirping.
As I said earlier, I love that Owen shows up for like 5 hours a week and just is like, I'm going to use these 5 hours to shit talk until I have to leave.
He's proactive in it, I guess. It's
I respect the hustle, definitely, for sure. All right, y'all. We had a lot of news this past week regarding Phoenix Rising. We're going to touch on that, of course. A lot of players leaving, some players joining the squad, and of course, we're going to get to everything having to do with this team. There were some signings today that did drop. The one signing that I was trying or looking forward to didn't happen, but we'll definitely touch on that. But before we get started with everything, how you guys doing? You guys doing okay? Good week?
Doing well.
It's been busy.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah.
A little sore.
The grind?
Little sore, yeah.
The grind? No, there you go. A little sore. I see you.
First Sunday League game in about 6 months.
We're going to touch on that or no? We're going to gloss over it?
I will always
I'm
say,
willing to skip over.
Yes, I know. All I will say is this is certain someone at this table, may have in the AR for said game, and there was a lot of shit talking about the performance. For the first time playing in 6 months, I like to say putting on a shift, areas to improve, but a scouting report I think was, I would say I played better than I thought I would given the rust. There might be a difference of opinion, but that's all we're going to say. We're going to just breeze on because I've been hearing this shit for the last 3 days with this guy.
I want to touch on it before we leave, but yeah, definitely gonna talk about that. We also did get the preseason schedule for Phoenix Rising, so we're gonna touch on that. I feel like it was kind of average, but I want to hear your takes on it, and of course, we're gonna wrap up with some Premier League talk. Of course, we had Man U versus Arsenal this past weekend. Big talking point in the Premier League, so definitely gonna talk about that as well. But let's go ahead and get started, y'all. Let's start with the departures of this team. One of them was Aodhan Quinn going to Indy. That was a bit of a surprise on my end. What did you guys feel about Quinn transferring?
So it wasn't a huge surprise in terms of in those immediate days around it. It became quite obvious that Aodhan himself wanted out. And in this case, the club has found him a deal. They've moved him on to Indy 11. They've gotten a fee in return. The fee has not been disclosed. We don't know quite what they've gotten in return, but they got something in return. But yeah, I think when you get to this stage of the off-season and you're starting to pull things together, you kind of expect the departures are mostly done by now. The way that this off-season work hasn't finished up by now. So, yeah, we're hanging on now. Look, we don't yet know what to expect because there's so many new players have come in that it's hard to easily kind of pinpoint to a specific player's a big loss because they're not going to fill in that role or whatever. We need to wait until we see them on the field. Aodhan Quinn's a big name player in this league, so yeah, he's always going to be missed. But again, just gotta wait and see. I mean, it looks as though by this stage, of course, Kev Lambert won't be leaving, and that's probably a pretty pivotal bit there in the midfield. But yeah, Aodhan Quinn on to Indy 11, where he'll be reunited with Solomon Asante with the legs.
There you go. Max, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think with Aodhan Quinn, you really knew what you were getting in a player. I think his performances were never too high, never too low, very much pretty consistent. On not comparing because they're different players, but in a way, it was kind of like the Luis Seas of like you knew what you were getting, never too low. I think it's just interesting though the caliber of player that he is. Maybe not caliber. Profile. I think he's a very good player. I think you kind of saw a bit of the writing on the wall when you saw a lot of these midfield signings that Rising was making, that Juan Guerre was bringing in. A lot of guys who can push the ball up forward, carry it, dribble it upfield, bring that pace. And I think with Aodhan Quinn, I just don't think that's his profile as much. And I think, when you take a look at those signings, I just think it was one of those things that good player, just maybe not the right fit in the aftermath of all the offseason.
Yeah, and I think so as well. Quinn has been around the USL Championship for a long time, 10 years. And last 2 seasons, he contributed 15 goals, 18 assists, and a league best 167 key passes while playing 31 contests each of the last 2 seasons. So a solid player, solid presence in the midfield. That stat right there, the league best 167 key passes. I think that's one of the things that I'm definitely going to miss from Aodhan Quinn, because he's always trying to move the ball forward. You see a lot of some midfielders just play the safe ball and try to kind of just control possession, but seeing Quinn last season, he's always looking to move it forward. He knows where the spaces are at. He knows where his teammates are at, and he creates those chances. So I think that may be one of the things that I think Rising will miss the most. But like you're saying, maybe his play style is not conducive to this new Juan Guerra style that's coming around.
Also worth noting that he created a lot of things. He also gave the ball away a lot when you actually look at the numbers. So I think it's more a question sometimes of how much of it is he created a lot because a lot of the play went through him, more so than... And that was partly because the wing play was incredibly ineffectual last year. So it's always going to create more for players who are more central, because if you can't spray it out wide for them to whip the crosses in, you're going to have to try and create something up in the middle. Look, I feel as though, again, there's been quite a few midfield acquisitions. Again, if he wants to leave, you can't expect him to stay. I feel as though, in the grand scheme of things, getting some kind of fee for him is the best thing that you can do in a case like that. So, look, if the club have gotten something in return for him, I don't think that you can really complain.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think also, at age 30, it's by no means past his prime or anything like that, but it seems like the team is going younger, whether it's in age or at least, again, within playing style. Again, like I said earlier, I think it's just not the right profile with what they're looking to bring in. But I think what Rising's loss is, in a way, Indy 11's gain.
Yeah, for sure.
To be honest, more than anything with Aodhan Quinn, I'm just more disappointed that his house is up for sale and his realtor is not Darnell King or Joey Calistri.
Yeah, what's going on there?
That's the disappointing thing.
The Phoenix Rising dream team. That's at least in the real estate market. But we got to do a show with Aodhan Quinn during the World Cup. Great person, great player. Definitely is going to be missed. A total professional.
Represents the club very well. Especially, like I said, that veteran presence. You can't. You know what you're getting out of him from on and off the pitch. Can't ask for more.
Yeah, definitely. Michael, great segue. Yesterday we got some bombshell news early in the morning. I hadn't even had my coffee yet, but Rising and announced that Arturo Rodriguez, they both had mutually agreed to part ways. This was a little bit of a bombshell, and I think this kind of set off a social media reaction as well, if you go to the infamous Facebook group over there. But this one kind of shocking, but in a way kind of not, because given the season that Arturo had last year, and maybe, like Max, like you're saying, like this new mentality that Juan Guerra is bringing on board, maybe it was time to move on from Arturo Rodriguez. What do you guys think?
I'll let you take
I'm having a bit of a tough time with this one. I think when Arturo flashed his brilliance on the field, and when he was on his game, he was on this game, and at many times during last season, he was one of, if not Rising's most promising attacker consistently when he was on. I think the issue was it just wasn't all the time, and part of that might be him. Part of it, I think, honestly, was just the kind of system in place. It just wasn't as conducive as getting him the ball quite as often. But I'm just still kind of baffled with a guy who had that much promise, and when he delivered. You just kind of let him mutually part ways, if that's what we're saying.
Yeah, I think the thing that comes in here, and I'll kind of segue back to what you were mentioning with entering the cursed social media and the reaction on there with... Look, there are reasons to be concerned about this move. I think that's entirely fair. I feel as though some of the talk then, which becomes about, wow, everyone's leaving, this club doesn't care, whatever, it's a bit daft. I think that this one in some ways may, I fear, be looked back at as a mistake. The problem more than anything here is, and Pat's here saying when it takes two to complete a transaction, it does, but at the end of the day, Pat, look, if you're in USL and you can move him on somewhere else in USL, we don't know where he's going yet. It could be that he's leaving USL. And maybe that's where part of the problem is in part. But you have to bear in mind that as soon as he's out on with his contract terminated, he's a complete free agent. He can agree whatever he wants. Prior to that, the club could have sent him literally anywhere that the club agreed to deal with another team on, and he'd have been on the same contract terms. anywhere else in USL. And barring a clause in his contract, which I'm not aware of, that would say that they can't do so, he could have been traded against his will. So I just find it odd that you would kind of go down the line, well, clubs wouldn't want to negotiate for it even if they wanted him because they'd get him in a better deal for free. I'm not sure that's quite the case. Not least because players these days tend to demand signing on fees sometimes when you get them for free. But anyway, I feel as though the problem here, again, is just they've gotten rid of... This is a guy who there was always talk about. He was this young player they were bringing in to develop. He was going to turn into something. Down the line, the club will be able to move him on. That was part of the thing. Look, I know it had been brought up before as well. That, Arturo had only signed a 2-year deal, hadn't he? Well, he had actually extended that. That was hinted at by Rick partway through the season last year when it was brought up. So it's... He was still would have been able to be under contract this year, and I just don't like... It doesn't settle well in the stomach, really, the idea that he's gone now for nothing. You accept player departures. Player departures happen. It happened to Ben Lunt. It didn't matter how good he was. He gets someone else comes in and, wants to pick him up from a higher level. You can't stand in the guy's way as long as they put in a reasonable bid. You just can't stand in their way, but... I don't know. Letting a guy go for free to me normally is something you do when you don't feel as though they have any real value to offer. Yeah. I'm not sure that Arturo Rodriguez is that guy.
Yeah, and it just seems like a really odd situation. Only 24 years old, like Max said. He, flashes of brilliance when he's on the pitch. But last year, a little bit of a lack of form as well, and not just him.
He got injured, though. It's worth noting that. He was starting to pick things up. In the early part of the season.
Hartford,
he got
right?
injured against Hartford in May, missed some time. And by the end of the season, you look at the goal he scored against Sacramento towards the end of the season. It wasn't even able to do it. Yeah. Right. There were some struggles, of course, just broadly even. Look, you can't expect a guy, especially a guy like Arturo, who's quite creative, quite erratic, but in a good way. I think. Hard to judge sometimes from a defensive standpoint, quite what he's going to do. But for that to work, you've got to have other threats that are also drawing defenders away, that are allowing the space to be created open for him. And last season, we just didn't see that.
Do you feel like this is
just poor?
He didn't want to, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but given the signings that we've had, someone like Federico Varela could that maybe was going to take that middle of the field spot that he's used to. Do you think maybe it was like his role on the team moving forward that, hey, you're going to have to fight for your spot? And is that something that you guys feel might have happened?
I'm not quite sure how they're going to line up with the midfielders because people like Varela may be someone that you're going to put as an attacking midfielder. He also could possibly be played a little bit deeper. Maybe he takes a little bit more of the other roles in midfield, given that you've lost Aodhan Quinn as well. You've got to find ways of balancing all these things together. You've got, if I'm not mistaken, Jose Fernandez also came in from Oakland. He's an attacking midfielder or played as an attacking midfielder for a lot of last season. So there are options. Yeah, I understand that. I just find it odd that he'd go on a free. Anything.
I was going to say that was a bit of what I was thinking. Again, like you're saying, we're not speculating or putting words in players' mouths or anything like that. But you got to think it's a guy who's when he's on, he's on. When he wasn't or he was injured or whatever, he's coming back and trying to get back in that form. And then you see them signing a bunch of players either at your position or, relative within where he plays. And you just got to think it's, okay, this is kind of tough. I thought, we've been here for a couple of years. I thought that we were on a different understanding, and especially kind of the verbiage of like mutually parting ways. Maybe there was a bit of like, hey, let's try to explore something where we can, get a bit more out of it. So, I don't know, man. I get it's a tough position, but I think considering that this happened after a lot of the signings, that's kind of leads me to think that might be a real possibility. Yeah,
we'll see. And hopefully we can find out a little bit more. But yeah, just odd, odd.
Also worth noting, and I'll just really going to pivot back to that point on social media. Please, people, if you are looking at things and saying, "Oh my God, all these departures," do not judge them on. Look, we can judge the quality of the deal, perhaps. I don't want to judge the quality of what the squad's going to look like because there's no Arturo, because at the end of the day, there's so many new additions, many of whom we don't really know enough about. And that's not a bad thing. We just don't know enough about them. That we got to wait until we see him. We can't really judge how bad a loss it's going to be in the context of the new signings until we see them out there on the field.
Yeah, I agree. And, now that we're talking about this, I did get a chance. I ran into a season ticket holder over the weekend. His name was Max. Great guy. And he let me know, look.
Not our Max.
Not our Max.
No.
You said good guy.
Kind of good guy. No, but basically, Max was excited. He said, you know what? I have no idea who's going to be on this team next season, but I will be there supporting. And at the end of the day, this is what a good majority of the fans wanted. They wanted a little bit of a change. They wanted to see this club go in a new direction because they're not used to having seasons like the one they had last year. So I respect that mentality because even though, again, we don't know too much about these players or how the system's going to be and how they're going to gel together, he's still excited to see this team come together and what's going to happen on the pitch. And I love that mentality. But you go elsewhere on social media and people are threatening to cancel their tickets or all this stuff. And I'm like, and I respect that. Do what you want with your money. But at the end of the day, if you love the club, you're going to respect the what's going on in the field and the signings, and you're going to get behind them. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, it's human nature for people to become attached to people who they've grown to love with one of their favorite players and that they've been on the team, especially for more than 1 or 2 seasons. And it's natural to feel that way. But I think the reality is the way that the USL is set up, you're not going to, you rarely see guys who are on teams for 3, 4, 5+ years, unparalleled. The fact that Rising's had a handful of players, I actually think that's quite interesting. But it just doesn't happen all that often. And considering that you have a new full-time manager who's under his first season with the club, that you have a new stadium, they're, in a way, it feels like they're trying to get rid and shed the old era, maybe not completely, but certainly trying to move away with that. And we keep on saying it, Juan Guerra, whether you like it or not, is making this club into his own image.
Yeah. And
I understand people's outrage because it's fair. You've grown accustomed to what you like, but why write it off so quickly when you don't even know what it's going to look like? It takes time to gel. Give it some time. If we're having the same conversation by end of season, maybe that's a different story. But even then, these things just take time. And I think when you go on the depths of Twitter and Facebook, yeah, man, it's a murky place. So just chill.
Give them time. Give them time.
Yes.
Look, if you want to turn around in 3 months after the season's begun and start talking about things, sure. Let's talk about them then. Give them time now.
I'll just reference to what Michael said here in the chat. Let him cook, man. Let him do his thing. I'm yelling because this is my last show, but yeah, it's we'll see what happens for sure. Let's move on to the signings. The worst kept rumor in USL, I feel. Rocco Rios Novos was officially announced with Phoenix Rising. He'll be the second goalkeeper signed this offseason. We kind of talked about him already a little bit, but how are you guys feeling in this with this signing? I heard on Twitter that he looks like he's going to be the starting goalkeeper. I don't quite agree with that, but given how he plays and his style of play and what we can kind of imagine Juan Guerra will put out on the field, it wouldn't be too far-fetched, but I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be the starting goalkeeper.
I think it's close enough between the two of them that either of them could be the starting goalkeeper come the start of the season. I think that we're going to be in a position whereby, look, a lot of coaches will say things like preseason places are up for grabs, all of that kind of stuff. Look, I think that this is an actual example of one of that, whereas normally it's just talk. Normally, you kind of know who you're going with. You're not really that much up for grabs. It's more of a motivational thing as to how close is the person behind them on the bench going to be to them come the start of the season. Yeah. How many minutes are they going to get off the bench is what they're determining in part in preseason. But with those two, I genuinely think that if one of them comes in and has a really hot preseason, the other one is whoever's hot in the preseason is going to be the one to start the season. Now, we've seen plenty of times where you get those, different things. And Pat Moses is here saying, depends if we get 2021 Rakovsky or 22 Rakovsky. To be fair, Orange County's defense was atrocious last year. So I'll give Rakovsky that. And the hope is that some of the additions, one of whom we're going to talk about in a minute, will really kind of fix that defensive line for Rising. But I don't know. I feel as though it's going to come down to preseason for which of the two is going to actually start the season.
I mean, I think if you're the coaching staff, you have an idea of some of the players who you're looking for to be your starters and entrench in that spot. And I'm sure some guys who maybe have been there for multiple seasons, it's maybe not written in permanent marker, but maybe it's written in pen or in ink that they are on the team sheet they're starting. Most other players, this isn't up for grab. This is why you bring in new guys. This is why you invigorate the squad. This is why you have a preseason. And especially at goalkeeper, 2 guys who have starting caliber quality, who have been there. Maybe some have more, one has more consistent play. The other one has had some really high highs and some really low lows. But why not make that an open battle, considering that you went from Ben Lunt, a rock at the defense, now to kind of being in this new transition? Why not battle out and get the best guy out there? I mean, both the guys, I would feel comfortable having either one start between the sticks, especially Rocco, where, you deputized for one of the, the best goalkeeper in U.S. men's national team history. Just kidding. I am trying to get some clickbait for Brad Guzan, but, good man. You look squint closely. He's not Tim Howard. But, hey, on the real, it's cool that he has, that MLS experience.
He beat out, he's 20 years old. He beat out everybody else there to get that starting position towards the end of the season. That tells you something about this guy.
They got him that young that young early in his career. That is exciting. That's so exciting. Even if whether he wins a starting job or not, you are excited about a guy on your squad like that, because it's a long season, additional competitions, whatnot. You want 2 quality goalkeepers. You do not want to rely on just one.
Worth noting as well, of course, I know we touched on this before, but of course with Rocco Rios Novos could be recalled. That's one of the big things here. You need to have someone that is capable of stepping up and starting in the squad, either of them really, because at the end of the day, if he gets recalled in June, it's far easier to have a player who comes in. We didn't mention when we were doing the departures, we probably should have, in Lalo Delgado. It's much easier to bring in a guy of that caliber than it is to bring in a true starter in the middle of the year when you're talking about a goalkeeper. Now, you could be lucky. He could be available. We saw, of course, that when Ben Lunt first came over, he was on loan. That was after the season had started. But you only get lucky with that so many times. You've got to plan for those kind of things, because if you don't, something goes wrong in the middle of the season, you're in a rough spot. And yes, to Pat's point here, no Trey Muse in goal. Don't worry. Trey Muse, his dad, will not be intervening in Rising Twitter unless you start prodding him once again. Go and get Trey Muse's dad involved as usual. Maybe he'll fight someone this time, like he keeps threatening to do. We'll see. We'll see.
Let's talk about the other signing that was announced today. Dutch defender Daniel Krutzen was signed today by Phoenix Rising. He spent the last 4 seasons with the Canadian Premier League side Forge FC, winning a lot of championships in his time there. And he has some Arizona connections as well, playing for FC Tucson, the USL League 2 side FC Tucson in 2017. So how did you guys feel about this announcement? I like it. More depth in the back is always good, and he certainly brings some quality that some MLS teams were looking at. So can't complain about that.
Indeed, he was on trial with Whitecaps. He played in a friendly with them recently and was let go. And at the time he was let go, it was pointed out the fact that he'd received a good offer from a USL team. Well, now we know, of course, who that USL team is. It's Phoenix Rising. He's just signed for them. But I think this is a guy who intrigues me. I know people have pointed out, and some people are pointing out on social media, his goal-scoring record. I will say, let's just treat that with a little bit of caution. A lot of those goals were penalties, right? Don't get me wrong. He's the centre-back, so maybe he gets a bit more plaudits for that than a certain Tottenham striker might.
I was waiting for it.
He was waiting for it. He was waiting for it.
Give me the side eye.
He knew it was coming. He knew it was coming, and I wasn't going to disappoint. But no, he has scored a few of his head as well, and I mean, that's realistically what you want in a guy at the back as well. You want someone who's also going to be a threat up top if you can. Makes you a lot more dangerous from set pieces if you've got someone who's capable of getting their head up and directing something onto target and challenging a goalkeeper. But look, there's a lot of, people were asking as well about the time he missed last year. Of course, he didn't play many games last year. It was because of an ACL injury. That said, we have got a tweet here, and we'd like to give a shout out actually to Mr. Brandon McCarthy here, of course, one of the co-owners at Phoenix Rising, who pointed out that in his first match back from an ACL tear, which he was out for about 10 months for, he was named he was named player of the week. I looked it up. I can't remember if he was player of the week. He was definitely in the team of the week at least. So yes, he had a very, very good week after being out for months and months because of a very serious injury. And hey, he's bounced back well enough that he did manage to play in the remainder of the season. He ended up on trial with Whitecaps. So, I mean, it seems promising.
Well, what I liked about that story is that he first was a trialist with their lower side, in MLS Next Pro, Whitecaps too. And then they said, no, man, and we need you to go up to the first team and trial with there. That kind of speaks about the quality and what, he can do on the pitch to impress people. So that's what I liked about, kind of his story a little bit, because obviously the talent is there. He has the pedigree. He has the experience. So I think this is a great signing.
I mean, I think the profile of the player, it fits with a lot of the other defenders that they're bringing in. A guy who can step to the ball, a guy who's very aggressive and can, has that scoring ability, can play out of the back. I very much enjoy that. It feels it's a much more proactive looking defense rather than those who might sit off a bit, maybe try to, give a little bit of a bend don't break type of defense. But I like the aggressiveness, and that really pairs well with the rest of the team who is aggressive pushing forward. It's just an aggressive team overall. I enjoy it.
What I will say, though, is that when you compare it to the Rising defense of old, I feel as though you don't really have a James Musa type in there. James was quite passive at times, I think, as a defender. He did kind of sit back. He was not necessarily the most urgent in his defensive duties. And then you had paired with him, you had a guy in Joe Farrell who, and some people won't like to hear this, but he was an incredibly reckless defender, I think. He came with a lot of aggression. A lot of yellows. And I feel as though his aggression often wasn't well placed. And that's the problem. It's also why I think for people who used to say that he should have been captain, I think you couldn't have ever gone anywhere near him with the armband. Not because he's not a good guy who'll get his teammates up and that might care about his teammates a lot, but I just feel that he's at times could be a bit of a liability with being a bit of a hothead on the field. Yeah. So I think there's quite a distinction between the defense of old. I mean, at the same time, of course, you've got realistically probably the same two wing backs there, Darnell King, and of course we saw Gabby Torres came in late last season, and I'd expect that he's going to be a starter going into the team, especially the way that he finished last season. The number of goals he scored in the games he played as a left back, he'd have to be. But I feel as though, we've got a very different looking kind of centre back core there this season. I'm intrigued to see it.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully we get more news regarding some players. I feel like there's still a few spots.
Should be some more. And people keep, of course, hinting about a certain player.
And we'll talk about that right now in a few moments, because we first got to talk about our friends at DraftKings, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, I should have. I really wanted to. I should have made that Eagles pick this weekend because I knew they were going to trounce over the Giants. But if you guys haven't made some bets during the NFL playoffs, I need you guys to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make some bets, man. Make some money. Did you guys watch any of the games?
Oh, I watched all the games.
Yeah. Go.
Yeah, I didn't.
No one's like, no, tough. Not for me. But yeah, if you guys haven't downloaded it, make sure to download it. And when you do, make sure to use the promo code PHNX, and new customers can bet $5 on the conference championships happening this weekend and get $200 in free bets instantly. And that's only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with code PHNX. Remember, minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply, and check out the show notes for more details.
And of course, we always like to do a bit of explanation on here, as we always do with these odds. So let's just, again, for those of you who aren't used to betting, we'll take an example. We'll take an example from the Premier League, by the way. Did you know that you can bet on the DraftKings Sportsbook app on who is going to win the Premier League this year? And if you look at Man United at the moment, they are at plus 5,000. If you don't know what that means in terms of the odds, it means if you put $100 on Man United to win, you're gonna lose $100.
Yeah, I think so too. So don't do it. but yeah, I mean, if you're trying to make some money, man, there's Arsenal's looking pretty good. But we'll talk about that later.
Arsenal at minus 150.
Ooh, look at that. I will take that. But yeah, make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook and make yourself some money. Have some fun as well. And as well, if you're trying to have some fun, make sure to get your tickets with Game Time. It's my favorite app, honestly, that I have on my phone. And I'll tell you why. Because whenever I feel like going to a game, I always check Game Time, finding these deals. And Game Time always has the best ones. So if you guys haven't downloaded the app, make sure to get it on your phone. You got the Suns, you got the ASU basketball and hockey. What else we got?
Dude, I literally saw ASU So after ASU's close loss against UCLA the other week, I literally saw tickets for the next game for like $2 on Game Time. That's crazy.
That's what I'm telling you, man. You gotta take advantage.
Man, like, what
you could get row 12 tickets for tonight's game for $75 all in.
Oh, for Suns.
At the moment for the Suns.
That's crazy.
Suns
all in. And it shows
soon.
you without the, like, with taxes and all that stuff included. So you're like, what? And you get to the end screen and you're like, what's this? No, it's already included in there.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure to download the app, take advantage of this, and go have some fun, man. We're all stressed out during the week. Go buy some tickets for yourself and your family and your friends and have a good time at these games. Not only games, but concerts, other shows as well. So anything you can think of, for sure.
For those of you who are trying to burn your Phoenix Rising season tickets, well, if you want to go to a game every now and then, use Game Time.
Use Game Time.
And
Up to 60% off.
Use our link in the show notes because then that helps us out. So, yeah.
Exactly. For sure. All right, Owen, you mentioned Danny Trejo.
Did I?
I think you did.
I hinted at him. I
You
didn't mention
hinted
it.
at it. Now I'm going to mention it full right now because...
What are we talking about an actor for?
I know it's not Machete that we're talking about, but it's he was also in Spy Kids. Did you guys ever watch that movie? It was great. It was great.
He was?
Yes.
Oh my God.
He was like their uncle or something like that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Shout out to
Amazing
producer
movie.
Sean here with the knowledge
There you go.
about Spy Kids.
Was it Taylor Lautner in that movie?
Was he?
No, that's Shark Boy and Lava. Oh no, I think he was.
What?
He was
In
in
the
Spy
3D
Kids
one,
3D.
right?
Yeah.
Who's the guy from Lord of the Rings? He was in it too. And Sylvester Stallone. What was going on in these movies?
Those movies were
What's
such
going
a
on?
fever dream for real.
Crazy. Dude, those like little like thumb looking things. With
Oh,
a full
those were
body.
scary,
Oh,
man.
my-
Yeah.
But I
Anyway.
do
a
distinctly
deep
remember the
cut.
thing where they pop out the little like McDonald's. That's like the special way to make McDonald's. I still
Look,
want
man,
that.
I know I'm a hefty dude, but that was my favorite part. 'cause
That's what
I
I'm
know
saying. That's what I'm
you had these
saying.
little tablets, put them in the microwave, boom, Big
Yeah,
Mac
French
meal. I was like,
McDonald's,
yo.
that shit was crazy to me.
Woo. All right, good segue, y'all. But yeah, Jose Antonio Banderas as well. You're right. Danny Trejo, that was the player I thought Phoenix Rising was going to announce today. Not that I'm disappointed with the two players that they did announce, but when is this going to happen, man? I feel like you need that huge name signing, which I feel Danny Trejo is. I know he was with on trial with DC United. Unfortunately, he was not able to get picked up with them, but there's some rumors, there's some rumblings that Rising might have made an offer. But I want him to be part of this team, man. I think he'd be like that core piece that this team needs to kind of solidify itself.
I feel as though, look, don't get me wrong, he'd be an interesting piece to pick up, especially because I think this team is a little bit thin up top. However,
Dun dun dun.
no. Listen. I'm not. What do you think I'm about to say? He's not coming. I'm not sure.
Better don't.
I'm not saying that at all. But I feel as though people will overestimate his importance to the team versus some of these other signings just because they've seen him play. This is a guy who has had one single 11-game season at this level, which is good. But let's also put that in the perspective of there are some other good players that this team has signed over this offseason. I feel as though hoisting up Danny Trejo as the best player that, or the real big one that everyone will be excited about, is perhaps being a little bit of a disservice to certain other players that have come in as well, many of whom can stake a claim to being just as talented, if not more talented, than Danny Trejo is, and having shown it as well. I do agree with Pat Moses. They probably do need to bring in a centre forward here, but yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see, won't we? We'll have to see. I mean, the team is promising more signings. They're also supposed to, I believe, meet up for their first training session on Thursday. So yeah, there's not going to be many secrets by that point, are there?
Oh man, no, I agree with the striker part. Definitely, you need a number 9 up top. But yeah, man, Trejo's the guy. You know, I saw him play last year. He wasn't able to get that much playing time with LAFC. You know, I would even be open to a Cal Jennings, you know, maybe kind of a situation there. But I don't know. We'll see. But this is something that I feel like this team really needs. I feel like his style of play and his ability on the ball, his ability to get by defenses is going to really open up space for the rest of the team. And that's one of the main reasons that I want him to be part of it. But what do you think, Max?
I think I'm kind of somewhere right in the middle. I see his talent, and I think that he is something that can add a different dimension to this team. But I also think if he comes in, kind of like everyone else that's coming into this team brand new, I don't think he's handed anything. I think it's something where you're still competing and you don't assume that he's even, he's in the starting 11. So I think it'd be a great signing, but I also, like to Owen's point, I just don't want to overinflate it, partially for fear of getting my heart broken. But yeah, it's a balance.
He is a good player. I don't want people to just think that he's a huge, massive superstar.
Cut that out.
And that's the key thing. I want people to recognize the fact that you can bring in a guy who's good and not expect that you are bringing in the second coming of Solomon Asante.
True.
Okay?
Cut that. Owen Evans said you're bringing in the second coming of Solomon Asante. With Danny
Put it on the Twitter account. There you go. You heard it here first. Oh man, but we'll be.
I can't wait. Rising thinking, quick, we need to whip up some interest in this. Here we go. Listen to what people are saying about our brand new signing. He's the second coming of Solomon Asante. Yeah,
they're gonna quote you on the press release too. It's like Rising Insider. Oh,
don't you dare if you're watching this.
But we'll be on the lookout for that. So hopefully it happens. But let's move on to the other piece of news we got this week is that the preseason schedule dropped. A lot of people were, on the lookout for this because, with the stadium situation, a lot of people were curious what was going to happen. And also some MLS teams kind of jumped the gun in a way, saying that they were going to face Rising. It doesn't look like they're going to face them. At least only Sporting Kansas City will be as far as the ones that are there. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6 teams are going to be facing Rising this offseason. So
two of which are the same team as well, by the way.
Not
2
happy
games
about
against
that one.
GCU.
Yeah, not happy about that one. But looking at the...
You're not a big GCU fan there.
Big Lopes. I do like their basketball games. They do put on a good show, but no, not a huge fan.
Get the glare from producer Sean here.
Sorry, Sean.
PHNX_Sun will show.
Sorry, Sean. February 8th against the Colorado Springs Switchback. That one's going to be in Tucson. 11th against GCU. The 18th against Sporting Kansas City. And then Rising will be taking a trip south of the border. Look at that. They're going to go to Mexico City, El DF. To face off against Pumas UNAM, their under 20 team, and then Pumas Tabasco on the 22nd and 25th, and then they'll return home for one more game against GCU on March 4th. So looking at this list, guys, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about this?
I don't know. Preseason to me is always kind of an interesting thing. I don't put too much stock high or low into the games. I think for anything, I don't put as much stock into the game-breaking performances that just light up the world because it is preseason. Yeah. But I also do take note of how is the touch? Is it sloppy? How is the cohesion? Are you at least being able to see some of the passing patterns, some of the defensive rotations? How are the lines forming from attackers to midfield to defense? Is all that solidifying? Because this is the time to really get that in place as best you can in addition to the training days before the season hits. I'm not really as curious about individual performances because I just don't know how much stock I put in to these individual games, especially, like you mentioned, some of these GCU, Pumas, under 20, again, no events taken. It's just not the same caliber that you're going to be seeing throughout the USL season.
A bit of a difference from last season. I don't know if you guys remember, it was Houston Dynamo, Sporting Kansas City, you got Louisville, Valley United.
Yeah, I was going to say, they played Valley United and you're complaining about Pumas under 20s. Like, come on.
But look, you put those MLS teams, but it's, one thing I'm excited about too is that, they have their trialists, come be part of those games as well. So I'm excited to see who might be taking part there. They do have their open tryouts. I believe, was it this weekend? Next weekend? I think it's this weekend.
23rd.
It's gonna be this weekend. Someone said in the comments earlier that 2024 we're gonna get you there. So
is he not going this year?
I thought Max scheduling conflicts. He's a busy man.
Well, no. I wanted to. Give me another year of proper football and under my belt. I don't know what that was, but give me.
Take this man's mic. Go take it. Move. Yeah.
But and I don't know. It looked, and exactly to Michael's point, Marcus Adams looked spectacular last preseason, and then we kind of saw what panned out.
To Albert's point here, will any of them be streamed or broadcast? We don't know at this point. We're trying to get some information as best as we can. They are all going to be behind closed doors. We're uncertain now as to which games we'll be able to go to and all of that as well. Yeah. That's all being finalized at the moment. So, look, at this point, everything is, we'll wait and see. I feel as though, look, a lot of people get frustrated with this as well. Like, they're behind closed doors. I understand the enjoyment sometimes of the social side of preseason. It's just a lot more chill. I don't get the... Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's... I don't know. Maybe it doesn't quite translate right, whereby for me, I don't look at preseason friendlies in the same way as people do here. People seem to love like these exhibition games. Yeah. And
well, it's a chance to get close to the players, you know?
Yeah, but you're close to players all the time. Like, really? Yeah.
I mean,
why are you closer to the players in preseason?
It's kind of like spring training is maybe how people equate it, and it makes it kind of evident that spring training is out here, that you're just such a carefree, relaxed environment. But I can see where you see that it's not the same thing.
I also feel like Americans in general have a different attitude towards preseason things, like football specifically. It's cheaper, it's easier to get closer to the game, which may not necessarily apply to a USL club, but I just feel like our attitude in general towards preseason matchups is different.
To Scott's point as well, actually, there's some other random questions in here. Let's just address them. Scott's point, USL staying on ESPN Plus, not confirmed as of yet what the national broadcast deal is going to look like. I do know that the team has agreed a new local broadcast deal that should be more accessible than last year. So just hang fire on that one. It's not yet been made official, not been made public, but should be a lot more accessible than last year. So that's interesting. Pat Moses don't believe Rising ever streamed a preseason game. They did attempt once to do it, and it didn't work very well, so that stopped. That
was we did something last year, right?
We were filming a lot of the stuff and then putting highlight packages out.
Yeah.
And if we can do that again, believe me, we will. We'll do what we can to get the information out there to you, to let you guys see what you can see from these games. But again, it's all resource permitting, access permitting.
Through a fence with an iPhone.
We're gonna fly
with an iPhone.
Yeah, they're gonna fly down to Mexico.
Max is gonna pull his car up alongside.
We're gonna go down to the university here in UNAM, which is a university, if you guys don't know, that's of Pumas, and we're gonna have Owen climb a couple fences. We'll get you some coverage over there down in Mexico City. How's that sound? No, you excited?
I didn't hear denying.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Let's talk about that trip to Mexico City. Is that kind of random, or you guys kind of enjoy this?
It's been in the planning for a while.
Okay.
There was talk that they were going to do it last year, and it fell through. Partly because of some moves in the staff and all things like that. So they finally managed to get it done now. The key thing about it, and I think this is actually really relevant this year, they want to take this team, have it feeling like a camp where you've got everyone together. That you've always heard the fact that it can be easier to control things on the road. Because you've got everyone together, you know when people are eating, you know what they're doing, you know that they're actually going to bed, even stuff as silly as that. You're able to do that, and you're able to get people together and bring a squad that is very new, has a lot of people from a lot of different places, that needs time to gel and time to mingle with each other. And I think that's what this is creating. It's going to force them to socialize, to be together, to build those connections that they really need to be building this preseason, so that when the season comes around, they're going to be ready for it. So to me, it's a really good move to do that this year. I think it's going to be really beneficial for the team to have that time to gel on the road. And I mean, if the owners are willing to pay for it, let's see them pay for it.
Juan Guerra mentioned that too in the press release. It will give us the opportunity to spend time together as a team. So to your point, exactly, when you have that camp, you can kind of build that chemistry, and the teamwork is built there as well. And we see it, in an international tournament. So they'll want to have maybe 1 or 2 weeks to just spend together as a team and kind of build that chemistry. So definitely great stuff from Rising. So hopefully some we'll be able to attend some. Should be a good time. But yeah, I don't know about this GCU business, man. I understand they're local, but you got plenty of teams in Tucson, and I know some are at Coachella that you can maybe play. But
shots fired.
Yeah,
Grand Canyon University. No respect from this guy.
I'm telling, like I said, I like their basketball games. What are they called? The Havocs. They put on a good show. So anyway,
the bar is really low in this country for a good atmosphere.
Don't limbo.
The bar is really low.
Moving on. Should be a good time. Moving on. I'll leave this one to Max because he loves OG's brand. So
of course,
what's going on?
Well,
with OG's brands?
they are going to be releasing their new, or excuse me, they've already announced it, but they're going to be hitting the shelves with their new flavor, strawberries and cream.
Fresas con crema.
Oh, so good. Yes. Very, very.
We're gonna have to clip that and just use that again and again and again.
Gosh, that's good. Like in GIF form too. I don't even need the sound, but the sound especially is really nice. With some subtitles maybe in that GIF form. But yes, you can find your favorite OG's brands. They got the new strawberries and cream, which is called Happy Balance. Happy Balance, especially good for
yours isn't as good as him saying things.
I can't compare them. It's a different version.
Come on, don't be a hater, Owen.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
That's what I'm here for. I mean,
2 minutes of non-hate.
It is what he's here for. No, but they got strawberries and cream. They have orange creamsicle. They have the minis. They have tropical. They have the pina colada. They have everything. And maybe, I don't want to give away, but let's just say there's some additional things that we're going to be putting in the mix with our friends at OG's Brands. And soon enough, you'll be able to get your hands on them. That's all I'm going to say. Very vague, but it is something. Something good. Something tangible, something real.
It's vaguer than Rising's squad teases normally are.
Get us to 10 likes and then Max will drop a little
No, I will not.
Okay, never mind.
Just broke out the OnlyFans voice.
But yeah, if you haven't, make sure to like the show here. It really helps us out. Underdog Fantasy.
Well, for OG's Brands, you must be 20 years or older to enjoy responsibly. I got you though, but our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Wait for.
Come on, Owen.
Come on.
I'm not joining in.
Come on.
Sean will do it. Come on. Oh, yeah, man. It is so easy to play Underdog Fantasy. You guys know these last couple shows have been throwing out higher or lowers and seeing what you guys think. I got another little do-si-do for you. We have Barcelona taking on Real Sociedad. I got some Barcelona ones. Let me know what you think. Here we go, rapid fire. Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, 2.5 saves, higher or lower? Owen Evans.
I don't watch, lad.
Oh my God! Why do you got to be like this?
You ruined it.
Play the game.
I'm not gonna lie, it ruins it.
You know what? John DePaz, higher or lower? 2.5 saves.
That's a good line. I'm gonna go higher.
All right. You know what? You can answer this one, Owen. Robert Lewandowski, 0.5 goals, higher or lower? Lewandowski.
Let's go with the higher.
All right.
I'll say he'll score.
What's the celebration?
Rafinha, 3.5 shots attempted.
Lower.
Ramon. Okay. Lower. Ousmane Dembele, 3 shots attempted, higher or lower?
Oh, man. He's hit and miss. I'll go higher this time.
And Sergio Busquets, I'm pretty sure that man might be 40. Have to fact check me on that. 2 tackles, higher or lower?
We go back to Sean for that one.
Sergio, the 34-year-old.
That's close.
Just fact checking you first.
I'm not a doctor.
I'll go higher.
Alrighty. Well, it is that easy to play Underdog.
I'm not a doctor. Just hit me.
It always does. Hits a little late. Hits good though. Underdog Fantasy. You can play it. It is literally that easy, and you can do that for all different types of soccer games. Throw in a little NBA, throw in a little NFL, all different types of things. And when you use the promo code PHNX, you can search for it in the App Store, or we have it conveniently placed in our show notes. Either way, use code PHNX. They will match your deposit up to $100. If you're doing the math there, if you are a mathematician or a math teacher or some person who practices arithmetic, put down 100. They will give you 100. That is 200 smackaroos that you will have in your account. And it's super simple. You can put down $1. You can put down way more than that, but you can earn up to 20 times your money when you put in 5 picks into your little slip. So it is so much fun, so easy.
Question: any PK Shakira stuff on Underdog?
Unfortunately, not.
No? Okay. I would have put an over on diss tracks from Shakira if there was. But yeah, tough situation for our boy PK there.
Hips don't lie. The lips don't lie on that diss track. Shoot.
Oh, man. All right, y'all. Let's talk about what Owen wanted to talk about the entire show. Man U versus Arsenal last weekend. Huge game in the Premier League. 6-pointer is what some people were calling it. But Arsenal got the 3-2 victory over Man United. Marcus Rashford got things started for Man U, but after that, it got pretty bad. So thoughts on the game? Were you guys able to catch the highlights if you weren't able to watch it live?
To me, I think I'm going to look bigger picture here and say I think it's the game that probably seals Arsenal top 2 to me now.
Yeah, I mean, it's I haven't seen... I don't think anyone really predicted a season like this for Arsenal, especially how they finished last year. Yes, they finished just outside top 4, but it was the way in which they crumbled. And the fact that, they brought in some new guys, but it's a lot of like the same type of core, it seems like. Same coaching staff. Like, wow. I think this one, they would have to pull an Arsenal in order to collapse and not take the title. At the very least,
they would have to pull an Arsenal, he said. So the fan of Spurs.
I was trying to absolutely just skirt
you
past
can't really flip it around.
I was trying to skirt past that. No, it was a dominant performance, especially when you consider that Man U also a bit of a surprise, especially how they started the season. These have been two of the hottest teams in the Prem, and I mean, Man U brought a solid game, but just not good enough. It just shows you when Arsenal's on their day, heck, even when they're not fully on their day, they still have more than enough to get by, and they're finding different ways to win. I mean, Bukayo Saka, I already thought he was quite an impressive young player, but that man, he just seems to elevate his game more and more, and it's a treat to watch. It really is. Like for a guy so young,
he
looks so polished, and like when he's going one-on-one at a defender, oh my word, like it's terrifying.
It was rough to watch. Him on the wings, but Man United, they kind of showed what kind of team they are. They are a good team, but you could see they're probably maybe another season away from really competing. And the reason I say that is because their squad depth, you could kind of see it in this game where towards the end of the middle of kind of like the second half when they were down, they were able to tie the game. But at that point, you don't have anybody else on the bench that you can really bring unless it's an 18-year-old Garnacho to kind of move that team forward. Elanga's not playing well. Sancho is still kind of working his way back up to the first team. So there's not a lot of weapons in that Arsenal as far as the offense is concerned.
Arsenal. Oh, I see what you didn't try to do that. I know what you're talking about. Man U.
So but that's what I'm saying. So, that's something Ten Hag is gonna have to deal with. But he even said it in the post game press conference where the players, if you're not gonna have that, the squad depth, the players itself, they have to compete harder. They need to want it more than the other team because Arsenal is insane right now in the quality that they have. And when you're going up against Man City, Newcastle, and then even Tottenham.
If you saw the all or nothing that they did of Arsenal, and not even if you saw all of it, just like the part of it, the fact that the team who's top of the table is a man who is drawing out like a cartoon heart and a brain holding hands. You see that clip from earlier this season? Like, man, it is. Arteta, I don't know what he's been doing in that locker room, but like he's got something. He's got the magic sauce. The players are playing for him, and it's just really cool to see him how he approaches the team, how he goes towards man management. It's just something very different that I don't think Arsenal's had in a while, and it kills me to say this as a Spurs fan, but it's good football to watch. It really is.
So, Owen, would you prefer Arsenal to win this year or a Man City three-peat?
Change it up a bit, give it to Arsenal.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too mad about that either.
Yeah. Should we look at the bottom end of the table?
Let's do it.
So, what do we think about what's going on at Everton at the moment?
Everton,
I know we kind of touched on it last week, but obviously things keep changing.
Sorry, Frank. Wow, couldn't cut it at Chelsea, couldn't cut it at Everton, but not good, man. Not good.
I believe today is the 2-year anniversary of him being sacked at Chelsea too.
Ooh,
cool.
Look at that.
Wow, that's wild.
You went from Lampard to Champions League, and then you're.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
That's how crazy the Premier League is right now.
Is it how crazy the Premier League is? Or is it a comment on him as a manager? Because I mean, how much success has he had as a manager overall? Really,
none. Really?
Yeah, I mean, no. Well, over the grand scheme of it, it's not a good look. Takes over a team, and while he does get sacked, they do end up winning Champions League. Helps to kind of keep an Everton team afloat last year, but like barely.
Yeah,
went into the last game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I think there's some highs and some lows. I don't think he's necessarily a horrible manager, but I just don't think like you've had 2 runs in a Prem League clubs. You're done with the Prem League.
Yeah.
You're not going to give you another chance. You don't get a third.
Even if you are Lampard, you're not going to get another.
No,
until you've had success elsewhere.
Exactly.
You've got to go somewhere else and prove yourself.
You got to go
now.
elsewhere.
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't just get another. No. Yeah.
True. I like the season of the Premier just because it's not the usual Liverpool, Man City, even though Man City's still up there. But you have these teams like West Ham, Everton, and you have other teams like Nottingham Forest. You have Crystal Palace, Fulham.
There's 3 points between the bottom 7 teams.
It's fun,
in the
man.
league. The relegation battle this year is intense. I know. Look, we probably should feel like we're further along in the season than we actually are because of that big break for the World Cup in the middle of it. Means that most teams only played around about 20 games, so there's still a long way to go. We're only really about halfway through the season. Some teams are genuinely only halfway through the season. Leeds have only played 19 games. Yeah. Liverpool have only played 19 games. Brighton have only played 19 games. Arsenal have only played 19 games. But to be that close, that tight with that, again, Leicester on 18, Leeds on 18, West Ham on 18, Wolves and Bournemouth both on 17, Everton and Southampton both on 15.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
There's very little
This
in
is why
that.
it's so much fun to have a league like this. Because you look at MLS, you look at Liga MX is its own crazy thing because they do half-season tournaments. But this is why it's fun, because you have the top teams obviously doing their thing, the middle of the pack trying to get up to the top, and then you have the bottom ones looking to stay afloat.
Just scrapping and taking any points they can get, and it just becomes a battle.
It's also so wonky. Nottingham Forest has the second worst goal differential in the league at -19, and they're 13th, but they're only 6 points from the bottom. Like it is absolutely absurd. I have no idea who's getting relegated. I mean, I think it's interesting, right? Because when the top is kind of situated, there's still the race for top 4. Pretty well in hand, Spurs. I mean, come on, they're gonna make top 4. We all know that, but the relegation battle is gonna be quite interesting. I know, I love it. But that's gonna be an interesting one too, because usually at the top, I feel in other seasons there's always like a clear 1 or 2 down below, and then maybe you get a fight for that final relegation spot. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts.
I want you to decide, who do you think? Who do you take going down today?
Who I want, or
who would you take? Who do you think is going to go down today? I'm going to spit you back some odds. Courtesy, of course, of our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
Even Wolves look pretty bad, honestly.
Who would you take?
Oh gosh. I mean, Leicester City has too much time. Give me Southampton.
So I can do these one at a time. Sorry, I can't parlay these. Southampton at -150.
Southampton. Give me Bournemouth
at -330. They are the favourite to go down.
And Wolves.
Wolves at +275. You think Everton will avoid the drop?
Listen, I could be dead wrong, but something about a mid-season manager bump. I don't know. I'm a sucker for it. Give me the safe zone.
Yeah. Leicester are only 1 point above the drop zone at the moment. They're at +400.
Where have they?
Forest are at +300. So Leicester are considered a safer bet to stay up. West Ham are at +850. Ooh. They're only 1 point. They're in 16th. They're 1 point above the drop.
That's a nice bet. Ooh, plus
that was pretty good, honestly.
850.
850.
Take advantage of it. DraftKings Sportsbook.
I like that.
There you go.
David Moyes is a little fraudy too.
Yeah, not a fan of him. But yeah, always a good time in the Premier League. So I think they're taking a week off this week. They got FA Cup and
FA Cup 4th round.
Yep, exactly. So be on the lookout for those games as well. But
can we shout out as well, actually? There was a big Scottish Cup result in the middle of the week, wasn't there? Because Aberdeen fell 1-0 away to 6th tier Darvel.
Ooh. Oh.
1-0 win for Darvel. That's a 6th tier team knocking off one of the biggest teams in Scottish football
Alex
in
Ferguson.
Aberdeen.
He's in outrage. Outraged.
How about this?
The 4th round of the Scottish Cup.
That one yesterday?
And of course, there was a 6th tier team also playing in the French Cup there, the Coupe de France.
Here Mbappe is really good.
PSG dispatched them pretty handily. So,
and they were away.
Kylian Mbappe just putting 5 on these amateur players. Yeah.
I mean, shout out to the other team. They got to play PSG, man. If I'm one of those players, man,
26 shots to 1. Oh gosh.
Hey, the shot was on target.
It was on target. Hey, but that's 100% shot rate.
There you go. Good. There you go. So it was a fun time in these cups. I love that. Love to see that. Wrexham doing pretty well, huh, Owen?
Yeah, they are actually, intriguingly enough. But look, the National League's a very hard league to get out of. I know a lot of people pay attention to Wrexham now because of course, the documentary about them and all of that. Look, the National League is a very, very tough league to get out of. Only one automatic promotion spot. Everything else, playoffs at best, and the playoffs are tough. It's all single elimination. There's a reason they've been stuck down there for that long. You look at some of the teams down there, right? And I'm sure you guys will be like, oh well, who really, I don't know any of these teams. But if you follow the lower levels of the football league, Notts County.
What do you mean? You don't think I follow Dagenham Red?
Yeah,
you don't think I'm
Dagenham and Redbridge?
Yeah,
Dagenham and Redbridge. Yeah, Yeovil, Oldham. These are all Scunthorpe, currently bottom of that league.
You don't think I'm a fan of York City?
York City, there we go. York have done some damage.
Oldham Athletic.
Oldham Athletic, yeah.
Even real names. Okay.
These are amazing.
They're great stuff.
Wow. But yeah, there's some
Yeovil Town.
Yeovil Town were in the championship not too long ago.
Oh, that's a far drop.
Same with Scunthorpe. So these teams have, some of them, Southend, I've seen them in the championship as well. Some of these teams have really dropped.
This is like, name it, is it a Scottish football club or is it a punk band? Punk rock band?
Well, they're English, most of these teams anyway. So, I mean, you got that one wrong.
These are the teams that you wonder if they're computer generated when you start on FIFA career mode. Dang. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to them. They're great stuff. I love that Wrexham documentary. It opens the eyes to people.
Dorking Wanderers.
Woo. Nice. Great stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for today, fellas.
Well, of course,
we haven't finished, have we?
We have to shout out our friends at Four Peaks.
That's right.
Of course. Dude, this is from the holiday box, and I just cracked this up. It's Impale Ale. Ooh. It's a freaking hop being stabbed by a fork, and you can't really see it, but it is so epic. And you got a little something pretty cool design.
A Leroy Brown Ale.
And what's the part under it?
That's
the baddest man in the whole damn town. Wow, that's very fancy. That's and cool. you got your nice.
I got the Hop Knot IPA.
Yeah, he went with the basic.
I'm not a huge IPA guy, but this is pretty good. So
I really build a tower like last week. I kind of.
It won't quite work with glasses. I feel.
I'm not
you don't really want to do it with a glass either, in case it tips.
Yeah, I'm not an architect. That's just a bad look.
Yeah, no, but
I'm not an architect, says Max. We'll add that to the list of things that Max is not. Along with a doctor.
He's a great guy, though. We'll add that to the list.
We love Max. We love
you, Max. Yeah. Four Peaks. Next week we got some stuff going on over there, right?
As in tomorrow.
As in
tomorrow.
This week? Yes. Oh shoot! I thought it was next week.
No.
This week. Tomorrow.
It's okay.
The calendar is just an illusion.
Yeah. You know this
January
Wednesday tomorrow. Yeah. No, you're good. January 34th. Be there. No, we will be out there for last Wednesday. Always a good time. We have not been out there due to Thanksgiving and the holidays since October. So it's been a minute. Come out, say what's up to your friends out there. We will not personally be there, but come check out the rest of our shows. You can enjoy $3 kilt lifters and wows, the best chicken tendies on the market at their 8th Street Pub in Tempe. And if you come find me, I don't know, man, maybe I'll buy you a beer.
Just remember to put all your beers under the name Max
Simpson. Max.
Yeah, just like the show. Yep. But yes, enjoy Four Peaks. They got some good stuff. It must be 21 years or older to enjoy. And thank you. I do look good.
Yeah,
you were just about to say it, right?
I was about to say that your shirt looks great. Stop. It's a great shirt.
Stop. Would you say it's good or you say it's bad?
Fantastic.
Oh, I think it's kind of bad. Bad birdie, that is. Wow. Well, stop. I mean, I think this is pretty cool. It's
Max,
pretty
why do we sit through this? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't catch the drift.
You got it. You know exactly what you signed up for. Bam. Bad birdie, man. It's comfortable. It's breathable. It's good stuff. We love our friends at Bad Birdie. I have quite the plethora, the swath, the collection of polos and whatnot. And if you'd like to get some for yourself, head on over to badbirdiegolf.com. Use promo code PHNX_sports15 for 15% off. Again, at badbirdiegolf.com. Look at the screen for the promo code, or you can find it in the show notes. And they got all kinds of good stuff. They got stuff on clearance. They got new styles. They dropped a ton of new swag every day. We look good at it when we were at our golf event a couple weeks ago. So look good too.
Men's, women's, youth, apparel. It's all great. I'm looking at it right now. This looks amazing.
You can buy Bad Birdie. You can look like this guy. And that might be a selling point. I might just lost a lot of people buying it, but I said it anyway.
No, great stuff. Shout out to Bad Birdie. And like I said, I'm trying to improve my golf game, so I got to look good while I'm doing it. So definitely head to Bad Birdie and take advantage of that. All right, fellers.
Yeah. I think we're coming towards the end now.
We are.
All right, Sean, let's cut the mics and
no.
get out of here.
Come
on, Sean.
No. Max, have you got something to go and do while we introduce this? You can walk around as
oh my gosh. Why don't you tee it up?
I'm teeing it up. That's what I'm doing. I'm teeing it up.
We're talking about golf. Tee it up.
Jesus.
This is why I won't leave him to tee it up, by the way, because I wouldn't trust Max with that responsibility. But Ramon, this is your final show with us.
That's it. Great run. Love working with you guys. Yeah, man. It's over a year. A little bit over the year, I think. But no, yeah. Last show today. Unfortunately, love being here with you guys. Definitely gonna miss being around the studio, being around everybody here, complete professionals. I spoke with you guys yesterday. Oh shit! You got the shot glasses. Darn it.
Apparently, we're doing some tequila to see off the.
No, but I just want to say, these guys have been amazing. Max, Owen, I've learned so much from you guys. Saul for taking the chance to bring me on board, and Sean and the rest of the producers. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. And of course, I want to shout out everybody that watched the show. And definitely gonna miss you guys. But I'll be around. So if you see me, say hi. But yeah, definitely gonna miss Michael and Reese and everybody else, Albert, Pat, everybody that tuned into the show. And so yeah, I'll definitely try to come by if you guys want me. And but yeah, definitely gonna be missing PHNX Rising, huge part of my life for a very long time. So but excited to see what's next. And I don't know what else. Oh shit, that's a big shot. But yeah, no. But yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys for sure.
Ramon, real quick, just for those of you who don't know, when we launched Rising, we talked, we spoke with Ramon and Owen, and by and large, they were the two easiest ones to pick. Ramon, I appreciate you for just being an ambassador for soccer. I really learned a lot about you over the course of the year, but really those World Cup watch parties and seeing you really just mingle with the crowd and have such a passion for the game, that's what we're trying to celebrate. That's the reason why we even launched this channel, is because we knew there was a fever for soccer. And I can't thank you enough for taking a chance on us and being a part of this journey for the last year. And we obviously love you and we wish you the best of luck moving forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, man.
Time to move on to the shots.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Saul. I'm going to say I'll try my best to knock it down.
I got to get myself
Have you got yours pulled there, man?
Yeah, Sean's got one.
Sean's got producer cam.
Producer cam, he's also got one, boys.
Well, right, cheers, pros, time, whichever you say.
Oh, there we go.
Tequila.
Oh, man.
Jose,
relax.
Ooh, baby.
Oh, man.
Okay, that
Happy 7 p.m. on a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Oh, that's what we do.
That's what we do here at PHNX Rising.
Oh, man.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate you guys. I mean, if you guys haven't, make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll definitely be around there with my bad takes. But Nachito Chavez 10 on Twitter. And continue supporting the show. This is something that, like I said, was a huge part of my life for a very long time. And I love soccer, I love the sports, but I think most importantly, I love the people that support it and are making sure that at least in this country, it's continuing to grow. And I think shows like this and having fans like yourself tuning in and supporting the show and making it widespread around the country is what's going to move this sport forward. And so, Max, miss working with y'all. Owen, we had a lot of memories, man. And what a shit talking. No, but I also do want to shout out Edwin. I know he hasn't been here for a long time, but he's one of the guys that I first connected with when we started the show, and definitely miss working with him. But shout out to Edwin as well. But that's it, y'all. I don't want to get too sappy, but yeah, appreciate y'all, and yeah.
Pour him another tequila and then let it go.
Got some left here, but yeah, definitely gonna miss you guys. All right, is that it? Final.
Yeah, we're gonna let you sign off for the final time, Ramon.
All right, y'all. That's it. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch these guys in the future. And, I'll be around. But thank you so much for tuning in today, and we will catch you. See you later.